When discussing which USL Championship organizations have shown the most growth from last season to this season, the Oakland Roots and Las Vegas Lights would be two very popular answers, and that growth has them neck and neck in a tight Western Conference playoff race as they meet tonight at Laney College. Alongside USL and MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. Excited to be with you on ESPN Plus for a broadcast brought to you by East Bay Community Energy. East Bay Community Energy provides renewable clean energy at low rates to Alameda County. Visit ebce.org to find out more. One quick look at the Western Conference standings tells you all you need to know about the importance of this one here tonight. Las Vegas 3 games in hand on Oakland, 2 teams tied on points right below that playoff line. Currently Sacramento occupying that last playoff spot, so plenty at stake. And these 2 teams have met already this season to a 1-1 draw back in mid-May.
And it was a really interesting matchup between these 2 sides. Ozark Carlson gets the scoring started. Just a peek over his shoulder, clinical finish with that left foot that we've seen throughout this USL Championship season. A misread here by Benediaz, and the ball ends up in the back net. Talking to Juan Gary, he said, look, we played well, we did everything well. Just the last thing that was lacking was that finishing touch, and that's why we split the points on the road at Las Vegas.
And they're going to need Ozark Carlson to be big again tonight. That's why he's the Ale Industries player to watch, and why shouldn't he be? He leads USL Championship with 15 goals.
And there's a reason why. He's just so good. He does everything off the ball that a striker should do. He stays inside that 18-yard box, works extremely hard. You can see him at the bottom of your screen, not giving up on the play. Yes, it's the PK, but he's in the situation, he's in the position, and he has the finishing touch on this PK. He can come to feet, can run in behind, combination play throughout players around him. He's just so good, and there's a reason why he's so successful in an Oakland Roots jersey.
All the hard work he's put in before and after practice that Juan Guerra pulled the curtain back on, does all the little things right to get here. For newcomers in USL Championship history, he is among the best in terms of the goal-scoring output.
And I see him keep climbing up this list, talking to Juan Guerra and asking why he's been so successful. He said, look, we have this system, and we need a focal point. Ozark Carlson is that focal point. We like to dump balls into the box and put them in dangerous situation, and his movement and how clever he is in the spaces that he picks up is a perfect match. So there's a reason why he's been so successful, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
We talk about the growth for Vegas and for Oakland from last season to this season. Well, Vegas has also shown that growth within the season. From April 23rd to June 10th, a 7-match stretch without a win. The 5 matches since, 4 victories for Enrique Duran.
And when a team is scoring goals, when a team is getting in dangerous situations, creating spots, they do have the quality to find that finishing play. You can see players like Danny Trejo, Cal Jennings, Iskandarian, Deroma, Crisosimo. They have a lot of talent, Enrique Duran, and when they're on the same page and clicking, it is a scary thing. So expect Las Vegas not to be an easy out, expect them to come out firing.
These 2 teams are tied right now on points. They might be intertwined come October, and after decision day, we might be looking back to July 23rd and pointing to this one as one of the most important matches of both of these teams' seasons. It's Oakland and Vegas next on ESPN Plus.
We are driven by a purpose to build healthy communities where everyone deserves a shot at fulfilling their dreams. A place where inclusion, acceptance, and equal opportunity are the norm. A town where all people have access to nutritious food, healthy lifestyles, and quality healthcare. Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots are breaking down barriers to ensure people stay nourished of the mind, body, and soul, all while having every opportunity to succeed. We welcome Oakland Soul to the town. Together, we will make the East Bay better for everyone.
I'm really excited to be a part of EBCE because of all the opportunities it'll offer me to save money.
I was surprised to find out that I could actually have a choice about where my energy comes from.
Thanks to EBCE, our kids are going to have a clean planet to live on when they're older.
I need the power to work in my studio. Of course, I'd love to be able to use more renewable energy.
We now have choices, and I'm happy to choose East Bay Community Energy as my source for local clean power.
We're on a journey to make healthcare more accessible and more equitable, to treat the most complex diseases and offer hope where often there is little, to provide better care to more people across the Bay Area. We are more than a hospital, more than a university, beyond science and technology. We are the people of UCSF. UCSF Health, redefining possible.
I need to try it first.
Tonight's matchup is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross, User Testing, Credit Karma, UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital, Coca-Cola, and Modelo. Starting lineups brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. Juan Guerra sends out a very familiar 11 tonight, Ricky.
And I'm looking at Jose Hernandez and Matias Fasori in the middle of the field to dictate tempo, move the ball from left to right, up and down, give Formel and Janssen the service that they need, and then obviously Carlson spearheading the attack. Also, Carr and Rito going to be the workhorses that we've seen coming up and down their side. On the other hand, Enrique Durena and Las Vegas Lights. Iskandarian's going to drop underneath Trejo and Jennings. Jennings and Trejo, players that like to run in behind, are very crafty when they come to feed. Jerome Crisosimo going to be dictating tempo, and Traore and Quesada on their outside backs going to be the workhorses as well. And then you have Lara, Borshoal, and Leone in that back line.
Thomas Snyder, the referee in charge. For the second time this season, it's Las Vegas against Oakland. It's Vegas from left to right in the white, Oakland from right to left in the black. Right now, they're tied on points. Where will they be at the end of the night? Where will they be come October in a very tight Western Conference playoff race? It is Vegas and Oakland on a cool, sunny evening in Oakland, California. Temperatures in the 60s. Quick ball forward, and the flag comes up. Paul Blanchette did not react quickly to the whistle, put in the challenge as heavy as he would have if there were no whistle at all, and he is paying for it himself, it seems. Not to mention, Darren Iskandarian laid out as well.
And this front three for Las Vegas Lights are so aggressive and so clever in the way that they stretch the back line. It's a ball through from Jennings. Iskandarian. Blanchette comes off his line, but a bit too eager from number 14 in white. If you're Clemenza, Barbier, Fuenmayor, and the Oakland Roots back line, you have to be extremely cautious in the way that you have to work together, step together, drop together. You don't want to get caught out of position because the side, Las Vegas Lights in that front line, they're so opportunistic in their movement.
Replay brought to you by User Testing, as was the kickoff. Real-time feedback from real customers wherever you work. Visit usertesting.com to learn more. Sun streaming in his eyes. Blanchette just gets it away. Puts Barbier in a bit of a corner, and he barrels his way through it. Not the cleanest, but he finds a way. Don't think that a coach would love seeing his center back dribble through 3 opposition players right outside your own 18, but Andy Barbier makes it work.
Needs to be extremely careful playing out of the back, the Oakland Roots. Have that fine balance of when Las Vegas Lights is pressing high. You know there's going to be a lot of real estate in behind, so just there's no shame in just dumping this ball in, telling Otar to run onto it. So have an understanding not to play through the press all the time, just get rid of the ball.
Tonight's injury report is brought to you by UCSF Health and UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital. No injuries reported on the Vegas side. They like to keep it that way. A few on the list for Oakland, but overall, this team has been rather healthy for much of the season. Might miss Mafeka, and Orangeville, though, has bench options down the stretch here. I'm going to get them back as soon as they can. This Oakland team coming off its most emphatic victory of the season, 4-0 over El Paso last week. That's an El Paso team securely above the playoff line, and it was an El Paso team riding a 10-match unbeaten run. Didn't really surprise the Roots, though. Juan Guerra noted that they've had plenty of performances like that this season where they didn't get the result. They lost 3-2 to Monterey Bay, 3-0 to Colorado Springs, scoreless draw against Tampa Bay, and a 2-2 draw against San Diego. Those were 4 examples where Coach Guerra felt they played as well as they did against El Paso. But the only difference is the small details. In those games, they had chances, didn't finish them, and they were caught out with some mental lapses defensively. They were near perfect in those 50-50 moments against El Paso.
When you get to this level of the game, just the fine margins are just so thin. the difference between walking away with 0 points, 1 point, and 3 points on the day against El Paso. The Oakland Roots were clicking on all cylinders, and it's an opportunity for them to grow on that. You see the ball hit the back of the net not once, but 4 times. As a striker, as a team, as an organization, it's going to instill a ton of confidence within the squad. So expect them on the front foot here in the first 10, 15 minutes. Ask a lot of questions of Las Vegas.
Jose Hernandez had the exclamation point in that game. It was his first goal of the season. It was a banger. And when he's getting on the score sheet, you know from the time he spent and you spent in the RSL organization, not a goal scorer, but when he gets on the board, you know things are going right for your team. And some space on the right side now for Rito to the backside, looking for Asokar, and it drifted goalward on Romero, who had to be alert to it.
The Oakland Roots are just so good at bringing their wing-backs into the attacking third, whether it's Rito, excuse me, or Asokar on their respective sides. He just whips this ball on the ground with a bit of bend on it, and gives the striker, Asokar, an opportunity, but good early signs for Rito getting in the attacking third.
Jennings lays it off. Rito finds a way to get it away from the ground. Now this is the point of the season where you might see an influx of talent all season long, or the rest of the season, I should say, for Vegas, because of something going on in MLS. Gareth Bale comes into the mix. Giorgio Chiellini comes into the mix for LAFC. So now all of a sudden, it seems like Cal Jennings may be in the mix a bit more often. It seems like Mo Traore will no longer have to go sit the bench for LAFC and can slot right in. Definite impact on this team in their playoff race. The chance here is blocked by Clementa.
And it's crazy to think a player like the stature of Gareth Bale is going to influence this Las Vegas light side. An opportunity for players just to play underneath him, to see and share the locker room with him and bring that wealth back and experience here for Las Vegas Lights, a team that is well and more than capable of making the playoffs. A team that has a lot of talent, especially in that attacking third with Danny Trejo, Cal Jennings, that have seen time in MLS. Iskandarian coming underneath them. It's a lot of talent for Enrique Duran. And if they get on the same page, watch out for this Las Vegas Lights side.
Through again for Rito. He's got a lot of speed, but not quite enough to keep that one in. Roots fam, help us welcome our women's team, Oakland Soul, to the family. Make sure to check all the latest merch by visiting shopoaklandsoulsc.com. Viking helmet not included, but plenty of alternative. Well, you're a fashionista. You know a little bit about some of the things the Roots are doing in terms of their apparel.
Very exciting times to be an Oakland Roots and an Oakland fan with their stuff that they're doing on the social media side, their marketing side as well. Top of the league, I think, in my humble opinion.
I don't know that your opinion's ever all that humble, Ricky.
Talking about fashionista, I saw you wearing a Viking helmet the other day.
It's in my rotation. It is. I wear it on Tuesdays. Visore tucks it through. Flag stays down for the moment. It doesn't matter. The ball is all the way out for a goal kick anyway, just ahead of Mikael Janssen.
That's something you're going to see as Janssen is playing a bit deeper underneath Carlson. Just so clever and so good in the movement from deep lying positions. It's so hard to pick up and mark. Janssen, Formella, players that are so comfortable as playing inverted wingers, that gives the real estate to outside backs to come around the edges. Really high IQ and fluid style of football for Juan Guerra's side.
Fuenmayor looking diagonal for Rito. Able to keep it in, nods it down for Janssen. In the corner, pressured by Alejandro Lara, who wins it cleanly as Janssen goes down to the turf. Hernandez intercepts it. Back to goal. Carlson looking to turn onto that left foot. Didn't quite have the space, and now it's Darren Iskandarian looking to counter. Crisostomo back for Doroma. Flag stays down on Jennings, but the turf gets in the way. Jennings regathers. Roma pushes it wide, where it's Morten Bjørshult. Coming off a very hard-fought 1-0 victory, Las Vegas over RGV on the road this past Sunday. It wasn't the prettiest of victories for Vegas, but it might have been one of their most important over the last year for the way they did it and the maturity they show. They were outshot 27-3. If you watch that game, you were saying to yourself every 5 minutes or so, how has RGV not scored in this game? But they held on the whole way, Vegas, for all 3 points. Enrique Duran talked a bit about that with us. I asked him point blank, would Vegas of 2021 or Vegas of early season 2022 have gone on to win that RGV game? And he was honest. He said, look, we probably would have lost it early this year or last year because we would have lost focus for a few moments and conceded. This year's team, he said, understands more what it takes to win and what it takes to focus for a full 90 minutes. This group is a lot more mature. He'd hear in the past at times certain players complain about a pass that didn't go their way in the game or a little touch here or there. And he'd turn around and say, I don't bleep and care about the little things. Just work as a group and the result will come. They've gotten to that point mentally, and it was nice to see that result manifest last weekend. He admitted he wasn't happy with the performance, but he was happy with what it meant in terms of the psyche and the maturity of this team.
And I think that's what you're going to get when you have players, young players, playing week in and week out in this USL Championship, just understanding.
Janssen looking through, diving header away from Bjørshult. Kept alive by Hernandez.
Just to have the understanding of what it takes to win and how to deal with different situations when you're up a goal, when you're down a goal. It's really good to see for this Las Vegas Light side, just to see the growth and the head coach Enrique Duran to be able to point that out and say, look, this is how we're learning, this is how we're growing, and this is where we're going.
First corner of the match now for the Roots, powered by East Bay Community Energy, providing green power at low rates. Visit ebce.org to find out more. It's Traore still on the deck. 19-year-old has come on quickly for this organization after he was signed by LAFC about 2 years ago, almost to the day. Early August of 2020. Janssen ready to deliver, goes short. Hernandez from a better angle puts it close to the post, wrong side of it, and it's out for a goal kick.
These are always interesting. As they like to go short, just to change the angle. Jose Hernandez is not going to be happy. Or that quality and that stature is going to want just to whip this ball into a dangerous area, and Tess Romero gets it all wrong. And it's been a bright spot for the Oakland Roots, especially on the right-hand side with the likes of Rizzo, Janssen getting in the attacking third with their movement.
Asokar wins it, plays it through for Hernandez, puts it behind. Carlson rushed it just a little bit off the turnover. Something to keep an eye on as this first half goes along. Last week I was joined on the call by MLS goalkeeper Jeff Attanella, and he pointed it out early on. It's deliberate for the Roots to attack this end first and have their own goalkeeper looking directly into the sun, because on the other side, the goalkeeper, Abraham Romero, has to deal with all those shadows, which is very difficult. And in the second half, you're looking into a setting sun for about 20 to 30 minutes. And Oakland last week, they really made it a point early on to whip in a lot of crosses through those shadows, force Evan Newton to make a bunch of stops. And he struggled at times, letting in 4 goals in that first half.
It's really interesting to see that view from a goalkeeper. You see, as a player on the field, you don't really think about that. The shadows have to do with that, but any advantage you can get to win when you're playing at home to pick up maximum points, every organization is going to do that. So
Vegas patient with it. They do enjoy seeing the ball. And both Enrique Duran and Juan Guerra separately of each other. And we had a chance to chat with both ahead of this match. Mentioned how important it would be to impose their own style and impose their own possession of the ball. A nice spell here for Vegas. And it comes to an end. Formella gets it right back. Celebrating its 75th anniversary, Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of USL Championship. Choose what you play with at www.selectsportamerica.com. Select, league's choice, player's choice. Trejo on the half turn plays it forward, but the offside flag up on Iskandarian. That's twice now that Vegas has been caught, and both times it was Iskandarian.
Just backtracking a bit, it's Trejo's the one that's dropping off that front line to play in the soft spot, in the pockets between lines for the Oakland Roots. So you're looking at a player like Clemenza, Fuenmayor, and Barbier to have the communication to Fisore and Hernandez to drop them back as well. You don't want Danny Trejo playing off their shoulder. He's just so good. He can hurt you in so many different ways. Something to keep an eye out. You want someone to maybe screen just a ball in, or not able to have him play with a lot of space in between.
Iskandarian looking for Trejo. That's the right man to target with what he's done this season for Vegas. 9 goals, 4 assists. And he's always active as well. He leads the way with 29 shots and 21 on target. And now his 14th start of the season. Here he is again. Trejo gets through. Puts it dangerously toward that back post. It was just sitting there waiting for somebody. I thought Jennings was going to make a beeline toward it. Let it go, and then it was cleared.
Just so good 1v1, Danny Trejo. So slippery, has one idea, setting up Clemenza, skips by him. And if you're Las Vegas Slide's attacking player, you have to make that near post run. Well, it's Iskandarian, Jennings. You can't let that ball just nicely just roll on top of your 6-yard box. It would have been an easy finish. When you have a player like Danny Trejo that starts in the middle of the field, that shifts out, you have to have the understanding to make that, to occupy the space that he vacated. Lucky enough for the Oakland Roots, no one does. And clear danger and an opportunity that goes to the wayside for the Lights.
And now it's out for a goal kick, and they can catch their breath a bit more. Well, we mentioned Jennings and Traore as some of those players who may, to a lesser extent, be in the mix now with LAFC, given the MLS club's acquisitions in the summer. And again, not a definitive two-side like the New York Red Bulls are and Loudoun elsewhere in the Eastern Conference, just an affiliation between Vegas and LAFC. But Trejo is one of the beneficiaries of it. He's made 2 appearances this season in MLS, made his debut about a month ago on June 18th, and then earlier this month came in again on July 3rd. So his play here with Vegas has put him squarely in the mix for some minutes in MLS. But again, with Gareth Bale in the mix now, maybe a little bit different, and Vegas will reap the benefits. All the way back for Blanchette. 8th start of the season tonight for Blanchette. Missed a lot of time early on. Trejo working with Daroma. Daroma cuts back on Clemente, puts it toward the back post. Iskandarian unable to adjust his body. Vegas knocking on the door in the last few minutes.
Having a lot of success on the left-hand side between Trejo, between Daroma. And sometimes Daroma, the center midfielder, getting into the attack. Very skillful as well. Very good 1v1 player. Meeting by Clemente not once but twice. We give credit to Danny Barbier staying with Iskandarian, like for like, not giving him an easy head back across the goal. The Las Vegas Lights have started off extremely well. Very confident in the way that they're playing. They know the soft spots of this Oakland Roots side, really exploiting them, especially on the left-hand side. 1v1s playing 2v1s, having an overload on the wings.
Here's the man, Otar Carlson, 2 goals last week against El Paso, 15 on the season. Juan Guerra mentioned to us at the beginning of the season he had all of his players write down on a sheet of paper their personal and collective goals for the season, because it gave him a better chance to understand what made his players tick and allowed Juan to be a better head coach, he felt like, knowing what these players were striving toward. They revisited those in the past week, and he looked at it and he realized that Otar had already crossed off a few of those. So Carlson goes to Juan, asks for the paperback, and wanted to write new goals. And it shows the mentality of this player. And he might have a chance here with Rito closing in, but it's swept away. That's what you want out of a player. Instead of celebrating what he's already done this season, saying, you know what, I've checked that off, I've checked this off, I'm only here on loan from Venezia, I can put it in cruise control now. The exact opposite. He wants to find new heights to reach in the last dozen games. Through again for Iskandarian. He's got a hat trick in 20 minutes. Not the kind you want. 3 offside in 20 minutes.
You have to think Enrique Duran, tell his boys, we want to stretch this Oakland Roots back line. We want to ride that offline trap. See if we can catch him. Not on the same page. One by Barbier and Clemenza. So far, so good for Juan Guerra's back line into their defensive unit.
Sokar tracking it. Scoreless elsewhere in some of the other Western Conference games. El Paso and San Antonio about to enter halftime. San Diego and RGV scoreless through 21 minutes. Only goal right now out west is Monterey Bay up 1-0 over New York Red Bulls 2.
And if you're Juan Guerra in the Oakland Roots, you want your middle players to get on the ball a bit more. Like this man right here, Jose Hernandez, him and Fasori haven't been on the ball at all in this first half pretty much. You want them to really dictate the tempo, move the ball from left to right. Formella Janssen has been quiet as well. Otar hasn't had the service that we've seen. Here's a opportunity here.
Formella and line puts it in front, and it's wide. Looked like Rito was the last to get a touch to it.
They've had the most success, the Oakland Roots, when they switch to point of attack. It's a great ball out from Clemenza, and talk about an underlapping run. It's so good, the relationship on either side. As Aslukar stays wide, Formella understands that there is space underneath to pull the player apart. A nice cutback ball. It's so hard for the defensive unit to deal with those balls as they're crashing towards our goal line. Rizzo arrives late, just can't get on the end of it.
Quickly taken from the throw-in. Carlson had it caught up between the feet. This is one of those weeks where we're going to look back on it and realize how important it was in the grand scheme of the standings. And not only for this game, but you look ahead to Wednesday. Oakland takes on Phoenix. In a few moments, Phoenix and Sacramento about to kick off. Now, if these teams start tying each other tonight and on Wednesday, different story. Nothing really changes. But if either side in some of these matches can come away with all three, it really changes the calculus as far as that playoff race. Still without a shot on target from either side in this match, so picking up right where they left off when they played on May 14th. That second half, if you remember, was quiet. There was one combined shot on goal after the teams both scored one each in the first half. And the first shot on target won't come there, but might have come from the corner. Brought to you by East Bay Community Energy. Visit ebce.org to find out more.
And again, it's just a relationship with that wide forward and the outside back. This time it's Janssen and Rizzo. as Carlson makes that near post run, you want Formella to play off of him. And I mean by that, as Carlson drags a player in, he needs to beeline it straight down the middle of the field.
Janssen flares it through, it's volleyed off the post. Asokar caught it cleanly. Somehow got it through all the bodies. It actually might have been Abraham Romero who got down to it, but either way, it stayed out. That's 2 corners so far for Oakland. Neither time did they go direct. They tried some set play both times, and it nearly paid off. So we do get the first shot on target of the match, and Abraham Romero keeps it out.
And it's straight off the training ground here from Wangera. These are balls that you dream of. If you're Formella, this ball coming across over your left shoulder, you don't need to put a lot of pace on it, just make clean contact, and he does just that. Give credit to Romero. Sees it through a lot of traffic and parries it away. But what a hit that is from Formella. There's a lot of technique, a lot of will, a lot of focus to see this ball over 30, 40 yards coming across and hit it on a dime.
Carlson leaves it. Janssen takes it. Formella over to Asokar. Asokar end line. Another corner on the way. Credit to Romero for somehow seeing that through the traffic. I didn't even see it through the traffic. I thought it hit the post.
Talking about those shadows there for us as well. We're going back to Oscar Carlson. Just what he does so well is just bringing players in. You can see his relationship and understanding with him and Janssen. As one player shifts out wide, the other one occupies a space that's vacated. We give credit to Las Vegas Lights and their defensive unit. Has been extremely stingy, not giving anything easy.
Formella didn't catch it the way he was hoping. Seemed like it came off the bottom of the boot as he poked it a bit too far away. Still numbers forward for Oakland. Tied in this game has turned from minute 10 to about minute 18. It was Vegas knocking on the door, getting balls forward. All of a sudden, it's Oakland finding a positive spell. Good ball out wide to Quesada. A little bit nonchalant with it. Did win the throw-in. Assistant referee spots a foul against Vegas. Bruce fans' next home game is Wednesday, July 27th at 7 p.m. at Laney against Phoenix Rising. Select number of tickets are available. Call 510-488-1144 or visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets for more info. Oakland and Phoenix formed a nice little rivalry last year. A couple of heated matches between the two. Jordan Farrell, the head coach at the time, now the director for Oakland, said that Phoenix is the team we and everybody else in the Western Conference should be chasing. The rest of the conference is caught up, it seems, and Wednesday is going to be an interesting little showdown between two teams still in the playoff race. Oakland better positioned than Phoenix right now. And oh, by the way, that is Wangera's former team, so you throw that wrinkle in.
A lot of motivation if you're not up in that game, as well as this one. Especially fighting for a playoff position.
Here's Formella. Formella gets to the loose ball. One back by Vegas. Quesada. It's been quiet through a half an hour from Jennings, but that can change at the drop of a hat.
As the Oakland Roots are getting on the ball a bit more. See Formella coming to life as well. Hernandez, Vasori really dictating tempo. They have to be extremely careful not to leave themselves vulnerable in the back, like you just alluded to, Joe. Jennings, Traore, Iskandari, you can just see how explosive they are and the willing runners that they are. The sloppy turnover, make no mistake about it. This Las Vegas Lights team just dump this ball over the top and tell those guys to go onto it.
Trying a lot of those quick touch passes in and around the 18. Oakland not quite on the same page so far. Hernandez flares it wide. Asokar, a positive first touch, cuts in and shoots. We've seen that before. Turn into a goal this season. Not that time. Jennings not doing much offensively right now, but comes all the way back to help defensively. And back in the possession of the visitors. Scoreless through a half an hour at Laney with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa, happy to have you with us tonight on ESPN+. Two teams tied on points coming into the night. Vegas 3 games in hand, and that's the big aspect of this that Juan Guerra harped on a bit. Knows how important this is, considering the games in hand that Vegas has. Again, he's gone up to the line of calling games must-wins this season without necessarily crossing that line and using that terminology. Coaches hate to use it unless you mathematically have to have the game, and they don't tonight. But you start thinking about things. If all of a sudden Oakland is 3 points back of Vegas, and Vegas has 3 games in hand, that's psychologically tough to overcome. It's mathematically tough to overcome. If you go the other way, up 3 points, and Vegas has 3 games in hand, you're still nervous about those 3 games in hand, but at least you put the onus upon Vegas to go out there and earn the points.
If you ask me, I think it is a must-win for this Root side. Although it is.
Rito trying to help that must-win cause, in your words, not Coach Guerra's. Be very specific
Exactly.
about that.
If you look at the table, this team is right above you as well, playing at home. They have games in hand. Like everything you just said, Joe, I do think in the end, the Root team that needs these 3 points desperately takes away the points from the hands of teams that are still fighting for that position as well. The team is above you in the table.
Trejo on the turn. Jennings racing out ahead. Rather Iskandarian now lays it across for Trejo. Trejo back for Iskandarian. They nearly pulled that off, going 3-on-5.
And I just touched on it, how explosive they are and the willing runners that they have. Any silly turnover for the Roots in the middle of the field. He's going to go down the other way with the likes of Danny Trejo and Cal Jennings. Just so clever in the way that they run. I think Iskandarian makes the wrong decision, to be fair. He plays this ball in the path of Cal Jennings on his right-hand side. It's a 1v1. It likes to go across his body to Trejo. And that gives it time for Clemente and Fuenmayor to shift over together and make life extremely hard for Danny Trejo just to shift this ball back over. Something to keep an eye out if you're Juan Guerra. You to be extremely well positioned while you're in possession. You're looking at Matias Vasori and Jose Hernandez to be the catalyst of that.
Moments ago, we saw kickoffs between Los Dos and Orange County, and Phoenix and Sacramento. Will keep you updated on those throughout the evening as well. If you're either Vegas or Oakland, you're probably rooting for Orange County, and you're probably rooting for a tie between Phoenix and Sacramento, the way the table looks at the moment. Rito a bit slow with it. Traore deflects it. Here's Traore. And of course, right as I note that both of these teams should be rooting for Orange County over Los Dos. 3 minutes into the match, 1-0 Los Dos. A quick strike at home for a Galaxy 2 side that has really been impressive at home this season. Formella unable to keep it in. Might have been better off just letting that go out for a throw-in so you can pin Vegas deep, and now it's back for a goal kick instead. Oakland nearly forces a turnover off the goal kick anyway. And Vegas bailed out by the foul against Barbier. Here's Jennings. Hasn't quite been on the same page as Trejo. Oakland doing a good job in that midfield of keeping things tight, and now the other way, space for Rito. Eduardo Rito, and stopped by Romero. The first 2 goals last week for Oakland came down that side because of Rito. He had the assist to Carlson, and then he drew the penalty that Carlson converted. Nearly a carbon copy of both of those plays right here.
And talk about a touch of class from Janssen. He has the patience and the spatial whereabouts to let this play develop in front of him. He takes a second or two to let Rito come around his shoulder and just puts that English on it with the outside of his foot to bend it into the path of Rito. I think when Rito gets into that final third, is a decision to make, to go for a goal, but just sweat this ball across Otar Carlson. I think he makes the wrong one. Give credit to, again, Rito, just so opportunistic in his movement getting into the final third. A player like Janssen is just so clever, so high level in IQ soccer to let this play develop in front of him and then execute it. It's all about timing and timed it to perfection.
Rito starting his 20th game of the season. He's accounted for 10 goals in terms of the goals and the assists. 4 goals, 6 assists. You throw on top of that a couple of penalties that he's drawn that have been converted. And it's no surprise as to why opposing coaches are picking up on the special type of player Eduardo Rito has been in this league this season. Enrique Duran went as far as calling Rito one of the best players he's watched in the league all season, regardless of position. Trejo for Daroma. Jennings. Back for Traore. Crisostomo setting the tempo in the midfield. Out for Bjorschel, and now Crisostomo again. He did a sit-down interview with Max Bretas, the play-by-play commentator for LAFC last October, Danny Crisostomo, and he mentioned how close he was to giving up the game in that year between Orange County and Vegas. He was looking for jobs, ready to leave the sport, felt it was time to, as he put it, be a big boy and get a real job. But it's worked out for him in this LAFC organization, especially in his time spent on the Vegas side of things, wearing the captain's armband. Crisostomo leads in a few categories for this team this season. A team-high 5 assists, leads away with 932 passes. This goes to show how often he's on the ball, setting that tempo in the midfield. And he does the dirty work as well, leads the team in tackles won and duels won. The heartbeat of this team centrally.
You don't see many players leading their team in both attacking statistics as well defensively. Just shows you how big of a part he is in this Las Vegas Lights side and why LAFC is just so high on him. And so much of the dirty work, so much of what he does in Las Vegas Lights comes through the likes of Crisostomo.
Made 12 appearances in MLS over the last 2 seasons.
It's really interesting as Oakland Roots are trying to build out. One key to the success is that the striker, USL Carlson, likes to stay high. It really occupies the center backs of Las Vegas Lights, Lara, Bjorshaw, Leone. Keeps them at home, and that's going to leave a lot of space for players like Formella, Janssen, to come underneath them and have that real estate, a pocket of space to occupy. Here's a chance.
Directly over the top for Trejo, puts it wide. From Romero to Trejo, nearly to the back of the net, and he knows he missed an opportunity.
And it's far too easy. There's a ball over the top that's not read well enough from the backline of the Oakland Roots. Juan Mayor is in emergency mode, tracking back. Denny Trejo is going to want this one back, frustrated with the result, needs to put it on target or ask questions to Blanchette. He also had Jennings to his right-hand shoulder just to put the ball across. It's an easy tap in for Cal Jennings. He elects to go for goal. It's a better result for a player of that quality. He's going to be frustrated and want it back.
Still 5 minutes to go in this half for Vegas to change things, and they nearly just did there, of course. But the second half, when these teams met on May 14th, Vegas held without a shot on target. So it's nearly 2 consecutive halves of play between Vegas and Oakland, in which Oakland has held Vegas without a shot on target.
Again, just going back to my point about building out of the back for the Oakland Roots. If you look at the left hand of your screen, USL Carlson stays extremely high. That leaves a space for the players underneath him to operate. Until this stretches out the opposition, it creates gaps and passing lanes. Time and time again, when you see strikers want to get on the ball, because every player wants to get on the ball. USL hasn't seen much of it. There's that discipline not to drop down and clog the middle of the field to make life extremely hard to play through the lines. He understands as a team player stays high. That's what's giving the success for the Oakland Roots at the moment.
Bjorschel looking across for Trejo, wins the second ball after it's mishandled by Rito. Now Traore drives it wide. There's been a definitive give and take, it seems, in this half on the Vegas side. They've had their moments on the front foot. They've had spans of 5 to 7 minutes where they were in control of the possession of the territory. And there's been spans where it's been the opposite. Right now, it seems like they're looking to end this half on a positive note, getting more numbers forward, more time on the ball, and creating opportunities again.
It's been a first half of blowing punches. Like you said, first it's the Lights, then it's the Roots, now it's the Lights again.
And now it's the Roots again. Janssen out for Carlson. You don't want him all the way wide necessarily. That's your target man, but he plays it through. Carlson gets back on it. It's deflected. Play to the middle from Barbier and taken by Daroma. Strong step by Fuenmayor. Ricochets into the path of Trejo, over the top for Jennings. Here's Jennings around the keeper. Is that card going to be red? A conference now between Thomas Snyder and his assistant referee as to whether or not Blanchette was the last man, and he was. Blanchette is done. Oakland down a man. And for the second time in a couple of matches, think back a few games ago when Oakland lost 3-0 against Los Dos. It was a red card in the dying moments of the first half, and then Los Dos came out and just bombarded Oakland in half number 2. Blanchette is done.
And I kept talking about picking this ball up in the middle third with the real estate in behind. You have to think Cal Jennings and Danny Trejo, those two are the ones that are linking up. Simple ball over the top, telling Jennings to go get it. Gets there before Blanchette. It is a foul. He is the last man, and it surely is a red card. They were asking questions all first half, riding that line, that offside trap. The Oakland Roots, this time they're beaten by Cal Jennings. Blanchette comes off his line, gets it all wrong. It's beaten up, caught in no man's land. Very interesting for the Oakland Roots now, seeing what Juan Guerra does.
It'll be Taylor Bailey coming in as the backup goalkeeper. Hasn't seen much time this year, with Benny Diaz previously in on loan, and Blanchette then regaining his starting job that he had last year. Taylor Bailey was, at one point, a player they felt was certainly in the mix to be a #1 keeper. They viewed it coming into the year as a 1A, 1B, and 1C, with Bailey right there in the mix.
And it was always going to be an uphill battle for the Oakland Roots with the pace of Jennings and Trejo. Just not quick to rotate and understand, put pressure on the ball. Danny Trejo has is so special, so clever. That's a vision to pick apart any team in different types of ways, whether it's 1v1. This time he's giving the assist to Cal Jennings, who again, the willing runner, has a lot of pace in his locker.
Mikael Janssen is the player sacrificed for Taylor Bailey. Substitutions tonight powered by East Bay Community Energy, providing green power at low rates. Visit ebce.org to find out more. Now it sets up Vegas with a chance from the free kick. Also down on the sideline, just been informed Juan Guerra was sent for an early shower. Also picked up a red card. Iskandarian and Trejo stand over the free kick in a game in which the complexion has changed entirely. Iskandarian testing Bailey immediately on the ricochet off the wall, and Bailey makes a stop on the first shot he sees.
Doesn't hit it with a lot of pace. It's a good idea from Iskandarian, trying to test Bailey with a lot of traffic oncoming to him. We give credit to the substitute, the goalkeeper, really confident in his first action. Get his numbers called upon.
Three minutes of added time here in the first half. Figure you've got about 2 minutes remaining of it. The first minute of stoppage time was still spent sorting out the red cards and the substitutions. Hernandez over the top for Rito.
Outside on one.
Marcos Reyna is the acting head coach for the remainder of the match, at least as long as he doesn't pick up a red card as well for the Roots. The first assistant on the bench. So when we show you the touch line, if you're wondering who that is, Marcos Reyna steps in for Juan Guerra.
Very interesting little tactical wrinkle from the Oakland Roots now. It's going to be the back line of Fuenmayor, Clemenza, Barbier in the middle of the field. Vasokar, Hernandez, Visori, Formella dropping in underneath as well. You have Rito on the right-hand side. Carlson's going to be the lone striker. So it's going to be very interesting for that middle three to provide the support to him. He's going to be a focal point to relieve some of the pressure that they're going to be under. Las Vegas Lights smelling blood at the moment. Up a man, next 45 minutes, that man right there is going to become extremely active, asking questions at the back line. It's going to be very interesting to see the tactical matchup now for both of these sides the next 45 out to play for.
45 minutes come and gone. The first 43 were pretty straightforward. A couple of chances and positive spells of play for both sides, but it ends the first half with Paul Blanchette picking up a red card in goal for the Roots, and Wangera being sent packing early as well. Two teams tied on points in a very tight playoff race. Still 45 to play, and it will be for the time being with Vegas up a man. We'll see how that impacts things as we come back shortly for half number 2. But first, the Anthem Halftime Show here on ESPN+. Scoreless between Oakland and Vegas.
It doesn't matter how hard you play, practice, or compete, as long as you do it together.
1, 2, 3, party!
That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots teamed up and took on food insecurity, improved physical and mental health through coaching clinics and mental health panels, and spoke out for social justice. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandrootssc.com/anthem.
So what if Jenny has a new car that plugs in like a vacuum? You have you. Yeah, you. You create your own karma. You, who endured this to save on rent. You, who upcycled your prom suit for your first job interview and still nailed it. You, who went the extra mile to earn extra cash. Now you have Credit Karma, the money app where your hard work can pay off with a new credit card, a new home, or even a new car. And wait till Jenny sees this. Whoa there. Create your own karma with Credit Karma.
I need to try it first.
It says Julie is waiting with my order. I'm just gonna go in.
We've got to work on the tracking. Oh, good luck.
Take the entire journey with your customer with user testing.
So, was the baguette fresh?
It was spicy.
And the ghost pepper rub?
Empty.
Keep ingredients separate? Here.
Get a taste of your customer's world with user testing.
Halftime brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. It's scoreless for the time being between Oakland and Vegas, but the lights now up a man after goalkeeper Paul Blanchette was sent off in the closing moments of half number 1. Before we get back to the importance of this game, we'll take a look forward for both teams, the upcoming schedule. It's not a mistake on the left side of your screen. Oakland plays Wednesday, and then it's a very light month of August. There are very few teams where you see a 7 for July and a 9 for September on the same upcoming schedule graphic, but that's the case for Oakland.
Something that the Oakland Roots are going to be extremely happy about, to get healthy, to get in the rhythm, to have a full week of training. But it's not an easy schedule. You look at the middle three, at Detroit City, at San Diego, at Sacramento Republic. That's a really big test for this Oakland Roots side. Looking at hosting Phoenix Rising, which is another massive game for Wangera and this Oakland Roots side.
Now Vegas on the horizon. They also have quite the run of matches on the road, but first they get one at home. It's not an easy test, though. It's the #1 team in the Western Conference.
And you're playing them twice as well, and then you go cross country to Atlanta for on the road. The big task for this Las Vegas Light side. An opportunity to steal a couple points here. You're up a man. Kickstart this rhythm right here in the upcoming schedule. Get the confidence going and see how you walk in when you welcome San Antonio to town.
Now Oakland plays Phoenix on Wednesday. With all due respect to both of those teams, it's not the biggest game involving a USL Championship team on Wednesday night. Sacramento Republic, a chance to make a final. They're in the semifinal of the U.S. Open Cup. They're hosting it. You're going to have 11,000 strong at Hart Health Park as SKC comes to town.
And that's why you play this game, to play for trophies, to play in finals, and you're one game away, hosting at home against Sporting Kansas City. What an opportunity this is for Mark Briggs, for the USL to showcase what they're all about, and take another step in the U.S. Open Cup.
This is the last time that I'm on the air between now and then, so it's my last chance to say it. Sacramento wins that game. Sacramento goes to the final. Very confident in that.
Love that, Joe.
Very confident in it. Now, Oakland fans who are tuning into this broadcast might not be happy about it because it's your direct rival, but I think we could all just put on the USL cap that day and root for the league. We're back with more in just a moment.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Trying to take down their rival. The legend has done it again here in Sacramento. He's turned the whole game around.
It's a goal for Orange County SC and their first of the season.
And that's full time. The old guard with a new trophy. Orange County wins the USL Championship final.
If Damian Lillard accepted his spot at the end of the bench, he never would have been at the rec center before it opened. If he listened to those who overlooked him, he never would have heard his name called as a first-round pick. And if he let 6 all-star selections go to his head, he never would have had the heart to give back to the streets that shaped him. That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, root for those with a fighting spirit.
Back at Laney College as the sun continues to set over the bay. It's scoreless between the Roots and the Lights on the Anthem halftime show. With that, we take a look around USL Championship with some news and notes. A couple of big acquisitions, Robbie Mertz and Robbie Crawford, back to their old homes.
And Robbie Mertz played a big part in the comeback win for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds tonight. And Robbie Crawford obviously coming back home from Monterey Bay, just a player that does everything well and playing different parts of the field, and something you alluded to. Sacramento hosting Kansas City.
Now, maybe they got their home loss out of the way. They had a 12-game home unbeaten run. First time since 2018. No team will be undefeated at home this season, but I think they would have traded a regular season loss at home if it means success in that game at home on Wednesday night when they take on SKC. Take a look now at the out-of-town scoreboard. Plenty of big ones to get to. Out-of-town scores brought to you by Visit Oakland. Get out on the town and visit Oakland to explore arts, culture, and world-class cuisine. The ones that pertain to the Western Conference, bottom right corner, San Antonio on the way to continuing their winning ways, it seems, and New Mexico, Detroit finished 2-2.
Really interesting results. Looking at Detroit City, New Mexico, what a game that was. See Tulsa going to Birmingham, carving out that result, and something I alluded to before. Pittsburgh taking care of Hartford, and the 11 in Memphis, a 1-1 draw.
We'll take a look at the upcoming schedule around the league on ESPN. On ESPN 2 on September 18th, Sac and Orange County. And it continues that following week on ESPN Deportes with Louisville and Memphis, and then Tampa Bay and El Paso. We get you now to the team of the week because we've got a couple of Roots players on there and a couple of Vegas players on there. Abraham Romero, the goalkeeper of the week, and he made a couple of big stops in that first half.
He's made a lot of big stops here tonight, especially, well, on that Formella volley. And then you look at Carlson playing next to Barry and Omi. What a front line that would be, to be fair. And
It's not a real team. It's a team of the week.
But I'm
you
just
can't put
saying,
them all
like,
together.
it's a lot of talent. I think, like you say, Joe, I take this from you every time I see a team of the week. It needs to be a Western team of the week and an Eastern one.
To be fair, though, it's a pretty good East and West mix this week. You get Louisville on there, you get Tampa Bay on there. Actually, outside of that, I take it back. The rest are all Western Conference. Never mind. We need 2 teams. Put that out there. We need 2 teams. It's scoreless between these 2 teams. The second 45 on the other side of this break.
So what if Jenny has a new car that plugs in like a vacuum? You have you. Yeah, you. You create your own karma. You, who endured this to save on rent. You, who upcycled your prom suit for your first job interview and still nailed it. You, who went the extra mile to earn extra cash. Now you have Credit Karma, the money app where your hard work can pay off with a new credit card, a new home, or even a new car. And wait till Jenny sees this. Whoa there. Create your own karma with Credit Karma.
We're on a journey to make healthcare more accessible and more equitable, to treat the most complex diseases and offer hope where often there is little, to provide better care to more people across the Bay Area. We are more than a hospital, more than a university, beyond science and technology. We are the people of UCSF. UCSF Health, redefining possible.
We are driven by a purpose to build healthy communities where everyone deserves a shot at fulfilling their dreams. A place where inclusion, acceptance, and equal opportunity are the norm. A town where all people have access to nutritious food, healthy lifestyles, and quality healthcare. Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots are breaking down barriers to ensure people stay nourished of the mind, body, and soul, all while having every opportunity to succeed. We welcome Oakland Soul to the town. Together, we will make the East Bay better for everyone.
When we think about the benefits of East Bay Community Energy, we think about cleaner air, good jobs, lower costs.
Good morning, welcome everyone.
The Scott Haggerty Wind Energy Center gives us a tangible example of how clean energy can deliver local benefits.
There is something wonderful about being part of this historic moment.
We are delivering cleaner, greener, cheaper energy. It's an investment in our future.
You're sharing our vision of providing power for Alameda County residents.
Tonight's matchup is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross, User Testing, Credit Karma, UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital, Coca-Cola, and Modelo. Let's dive right into those highlights from half number 1, brought to you by UCSF Health. Early on, some chances for the Roots, but unable to convert. Romero, a big stop.
What a play this is off the training ground from Wongera and the Oakland Roots. Ball over the top. Everyone crashes. Formella hits it extremely well, but give credit to Romero. Big time save from the Las Vegas Lights goalkeeper. And then it's all about the outside backs getting involved. Rizzo here. You can see Carlson at the bottom of your screen. So open. Likes to go for a goal, but then again, Romero makes a big time save. Romero here, just over the top, far too easy. A theme was for the Oakland Roots is getting caught out of position with the speed that Las Vegas Lights has in their front line. This time it's Trejo, then it's Jennings, then it's Kandarian. Now again, Trejo, Cal Jennings, catching that spot between Barbier and Clemenza. Blanchette comes off his line, and when you come off your line as a goalkeeper, you need to be extremely sure that he's caught in no man's land. Jennings is there before him, touch around. It is a red card, it is a foul. We had a little talk offline, Joe, and it might be questionable, I would say, but I think it is.
We could dive more into it.
Yeah,
we could dive more into it
it is a red
as
card
the second half goes along. It's a bit of a gray area. I think I'll preface it by saying I do agree with the call, and so do you, but we can dive into it a little bit more. First, a look at the stats. That might look drastically different 10, 15 minutes from now that Vegas has the manpower advantage after that red card to Paul Blanchette. Teams are ready to go now in half number 2. It's Vegas in the white. It's Oakland in the black. It's Vegas up a man. It's both teams scoreless, but for how long? Underway in half number 2. Vegas up a man. Two teams tied on points in a very tight Western Conference with 28 each coming into the night. This is a golden opportunity for Vegas to come away with all three and distance themselves from the Roots with those 3 extra games that they still have in hand. Alongside Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us tonight on ESPN+. Traore leaves it back for Crisostomo. Very curious how the chess pieces move across the board now for both teams in this game when you start talking about the bigger picture and what's at stake as well. Take a look back again at that red card so we can dive a little bit more into it. The gray area here that we were talking about off the air is what would Jennings have done with the next touch? Because watch right here, Clemente catches up. If it's a shot on that first touch, Clemente's not there. Probably a goal, definite denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. And you can't read Jennings' mind. You don't know what he was going to do. If he takes a touch, Clemente might have been there, and maybe that's why Juan Guerra had an argument. He took it a little bit too far and picked up a red card, but that's maybe what the debate was, arguing that Clemente did close the gap. That's a 31-year-old center back that's not the most fleet of foot. Cal Jennings has a lot of speed. I think had he taken another touch, it still might have been Jennings' advantage, but we just never know.
As the next striker, as the next player, I think his second touch is, if we're talking hypothetically, I think it is going straight for goal. Again, I'm not certified referee or anything like you are, Joe.
I am, actually.
Way above my pay grade to answer this question, but I don't see another way that it's not a red card as Blanchett comes off his line, takes away from a goal-scoring opportunity. At that time, I think that when he comes in contact with Cal Jennings, he is the last man, and it is a foul, right? So I think there's no decision. It has to be a red card.
Traore through for Trejo, back for Jennings, and now cleared away. Actually did just get my 8-year anniversary email from my referee badge, so I am qualified, maybe slightly.
You can give yourself a bit more credit. Don't be so modest, Joe.
No, I'm with you on that one. I think the red card is correct, but I also certainly see the gripe to be had from Juan Guerra and his staff, which is now led by Marcos Reyna down on the touchline.
And one thing for the Oakland Roots is going to be extremely important is Oates are not just his goal-scoring ability, but how vocal and how much of a focal point he's going to be as that lone striker. You're going to see him, his hold-up play needs to be exceptional in this next 45 minutes to bring players in, relieve some of the pressure that Las Vegas Lights is going to put under the Oakland Roots. You want him to play off of the back line of Las Vegas, so you want players like Hernandez, Tesore, Formella to come underneath them. That's the way you're going to get out of being down a man who's moving the ball extremely quick, using him as a board to play off 1-2 touch really quickly.
This is another mental test now for Enrique Duran's side. It's different than the one they faced last week, where they were bombarded by RGV and held on to win 1-0. Can you now, in a hostile road environment, use your manpower advantage to your advantage and go and get the 3 points in the second half of this game? It's a different test, but it's still a challenge nonetheless for Las Vegas. It seems easy on paper. You're up a man, you should fare pretty well, but it's not that simple when you boil it down to the fact that Oakland is going to change the way they play now.
And it just goes back to the point that when we spoke with Enrique Duran, just saying, look, that RGV game, we maybe lose, we tie that game, whatever it may be, but you just see the growth. And this is an opportunity for the Las Vegas Lights to grow here. When you go up a man, natural tendency for a player, for a team, is really to feel, oh, we have this game in the bag, we're up a man. Like on paper, it is easy, like you said, Joe. But it's the opposite, really. You need to dial up that intensity, play at a higher tempo, move the ball a lot faster than you normally would, be very decisive in your decision-making, pulling players out of position. exactly like what they're doing here. And that's the way that you're going to break down this bunker of the Oakland Roots as they're going to drop into a 4-4-1 defensively. You use the ball to be that quote-unquote extra man and make the ball sweat, move the ball extremely fast from left to right, up and down, and open up passing lanes for each other.
It's pretty simple in terms of the mentality from Vegas. Just go forward, score a goal, use your manpower advantage, and pick up the 3 points. But from Oakland's perspective, it's not so easy to decide here. Do you try to still play somewhat open, knowing that in the grand scheme of things, you darn near have to have 3 points tonight? Again, Juan Guerrero stopped just shy of calling it a must-win, as most coaches will until it is actually a must-win. But it's pretty close to a must-win. Do you hold on and just say, you know what, we're dealt a poor hand, we're down a man, let's hope for a draw? Or do you still have to play open and go for it?
I think you go for it, but be smart in the way that you do go for it. Otar is more than capable of being that lone striker, that focal point, that target man, and you have different makers on the side. How many times have we seen Rito, we've seen Asokar take matters into their own hands, beat players, 2 players, 3 players, whatever it may be, with their pace and power, and whip balls in, and Otar's getting on the end of it. Diaz Fasori and Jose Hernandez locking down that middle of the field to get that tempo in. They have the talent.
Here's Rito in for Carlson. Carlson finds a way through. Carlson is stopped by Romero. That might be what they need, just one quick counter. Use the talent of Rito and Carlson to their advantage. But for the second time now, Romero makes a big point-blank stop.
The thing I need to play the lotto. Just call this one here. Rito coming inside. Otar gets a lucky bounce, and he likes to go for the chip. I think he has a better opportunity if he just tries to squeak it in to that near post.
At the other end, Trejo scores. Vegas goes up 1-0. It's his 10th of the season, and now Vegas is up a goal and up a man.
How quick things can change in this game. Said how explosive Danny Trejo is. It comes off this goal kick. Well-worked play on the right-hand side. Again, it's Cal Jennings playing it to Danny Trejo. Clemente reads it all wrong. Talking about a clean first touch to set him up for that second one, and then it's such a cheeky little toe poke. There's nothing that Bailey can do. Incredible take. Incredible finish from Danny Trejo. Now it's a very interesting uphill battle for the Oakland Roots. Going down 1-0 within 10 minutes coming out of the break.
It seems so subtle, but what Trejo did right there
so
was
hard.
Very difficult, and good luck as a keeper. You're setting up, you're waiting for that left-footed shot to maybe come across, and he just pokes it with the right foot. When it looks like he's going to plant with that foot, he makes contact with the ball and places it perfectly.
And it's just so hard as a goalkeeper, as a defender, as when you're setting up, when you're getting your footing and someone takes that quick one. It's such a cheeky thing. You see it a lot in futsal, the quick release, the toe poke. What a dime of a pass as well. Cal Jennings just putting his ball right over the head of Emra Clemente. There's nothing he can do. And that clean first touch is something you can't teach. The technical ability. Players get in that position and the player in front of them. Time and time they throw him off, and that touch is far too wide, far too long. It gives the keeper an opportunity to come out big. Not Danny Trejo. Talking about the quality that he has, why he's such a pivotal part of this Las Vegas Lights side to get his 10th goal on the year.
When Oakland conceded against LA a couple of games back, similar situation. They picked up a red card in the dying embers of the first half, and they started the second half down a man. Los Angeles in that game scored in the 51st, and they doubled it up quickly in the 56th. So right around that same time, Oakland undone, down a man, and they go down a goal. They struggled when they went down a man in that game. Stating the obvious there, do the math, you're down a man, they're up a man, it's going to be more difficult. But they particularly struggled. That second half against Los Dos, they allowed 16 shots, 10 on target after a first half in which they only surrendered 3 shots to Los Dos. Tonight, only gave up 1 shot on target and 4 total shots in the first half. And now Vegas, through 2 minutes, rather than through 10 minutes, has 2 shots on target and a goal in this second half. Roma and Crisostomo stand over it. Earlier this season against San Diego, Oakland twice battled back from down a goal when they were down a man. So if you're Vegas and you could try to get a second one, you've got to capitalize and make sure you put this Oakland team to bed.
We're just going back to that mentality state. Now you're up in the goal, and up a man. Now it's really time to keep your foot on the gas pedal and go for that second one. Be careful as you go for that second one. You don't want to overcommit and have too many numbers in the attacking third. It's Oakland Roots side. And a player like Otar Carlson, 15 goals on the year, doesn't need a second invitation to put the ball in the back of the net.
Trejo, wayward of Crisostomo, contorted to keep that alive. Check on the hamstring after that one. Into Jennings, gets by on the right foot. Jennings puts it right on Taylor Bailey. Rito is possessed by Crisostomo. Mentioned it in the first half, leads the team in duels 1 and tackles 1 and assists. On the left side for Asokar. Juan Asokar on the left foot, now slows it down, looking for some help. Hernandez flashes as an option. Overlap to Barbier, it's just a bit short. All the way back for Clementa. Taylor Bailey started the first 2 games of the year for Oakland against RGV in Memphis. Hadn't played since. Not much he could have done, though, about that Vegas goal. As we approach the hour mark here, it's also at the hour mark between San Diego and RGV, with San Diego up 2-1. LA and Orange County are tied at 1 at halftime, and it looks like Phoenix and Sacramento will go into the half scoreless. Monterey Bay still up 1-0 on New York Red Bulls 2, and San Antonio, with just 5 minutes remaining, still up 1-0 on El Paso. There are scores from around the league. And with those scores right now, the way things look, Vegas would loft all the way up to 6th place, jumping Sacramento and Los Dos. Still plenty to change possibly here tonight in those other games, and perhaps in this one. But Vegas up a goal and a man at the hour mark, and Trejo looking to make it 2. At the end line, puts it in front, shouts of handball waved off. Out to Traore. Now DeRoma. Traore gets it by Rito. Iskandarian pulls it back. Clementa blocks it. Given away by Barbier. Fairly quick to it.
Not the smartest idea there from Barbier. You know, a lot of traffic around you, a lot of white jerseys. You just want to clear that ball, get it out of danger. No time to play tiki-taka in your defensive third end when you're down a man.
Carlson looking to make something happen as we're beyond the hour mark. With Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. The goal for Vegas came early in this second half, courtesy of Danny Trejo in the 53rd minute, his 10th of the season. Vegas up a goal, up a man.
You see the Oakland Roots are having a hard time playing to the feet of Carlson. You have players like Jose Hernandez, Matias Vasori in the middle of the field. Get their foot on the ball. They've been doing a lot of the defensive work here, finding those gaps. You have to work together. When you get on the ball, keep the ball.
Crisostomo through for Jennings. He's taken down by Bailey. Start to think about who the emergency goalie might be on something like that. A laugh from Cal Jennings. You wonder if he's thinking the same thing. I don't know. Barbier looks like he would cover a lot of the goal. Tall, lanky. Unfortunately, no call and just out for a corner.
It was just his running, his pace, the movement that is causing all sorts of problems for the Oakland Roots from Cal Jennings.
Trejo back for DeRoma. Trejo again. Trejo tried to square it back where he had some teammates waiting, and they'll work it again from the corner. Enrique Duran could go on and on about the development and growth of so many of his players, none more than Trejo, as Carlson clears away the corner. Duran just feels that Trejo has approached this season differently. He's been incredibly committed to developing and receptive to critiques from the coaches. He's reworked the way he puts in the effort defensively. More complete player now. And the way he impacts the game, he's impacted it plenty in terms of the goal scoring with 10 goals and 4 assists. It's going to take more than a 1-goal deficit and a 1-player deficit to dampen the mood of the Oakland Roots fans with some of the drama they've seen at this venue this season, all the late comebacks. They know that this one is far from over until Vegas puts in that second goal, if it ever comes. And even then, it still might not be over.
Never count the Oakland Roots out till the whistle's blown. Team that's shown throughout this 2022 USL Championship season, they don't give up. They fight till the end. They have a sense of togetherness, culture here in the Oakland community.
Hernandez wins the header, and now it's out for Barbier. Carlson, a bit overeager, commits the foul. Jose Hernandez ended up picking up a yellow card in there, perhaps for something he said as he passed by Thomas Snyder after the whistle was blown.
It's a good idea here from Barbier just to bump this ball into a dangerous area. Like you said, Joe, I think he is a bit overzealous. Here's Carlson just coming through the back of Traore.
Correction, the yellow was issued to Carlson. got a correction to the correction. The yellow was to Hernandez in the first place. From the corner, Crisostomo lines it up. Looking through for Trejo, took the wrong angle of that ball. Just ran out of steam, but back on it again, kept onside by Clementa. Trejo for Crisostomo, whips it in toward the back post, and Bailey is there. Well, if this game calls for Taylor Bailey going forward as an extra attacker on a late set piece, more than capable of scoring himself. As a senior in high school, where he was a three-sport athlete, football, soccer, and basketball. As a senior, he also played some forward, not just goalkeeper. And in his career, he had 24 goals in high school. So some forward, some goalkeeper. It could be an extra option on a set piece late in the match. Did you even score 24 goals in high school?
Went to a boarding school. Played in the US Academy, so I didn't really. 24, like in
so
total,
the answer is no.
Or a season or a total?
No, 24 in total.
Oh, yeah. What? I was not a three-sport athlete, I'll tell you that. So props to Bailey for that.
I was a three-sport athlete when I was like 7.
I think everyone was, right? Mom and dad just throw you in local soccer league, trade baseball, t-ball at the time, actually.
Oh, it's all fun and games when everybody's about 3'8", but then when you stay 5'6" and everybody else is now 6'2", there's only so much you can do.
You're quite the athlete, Joe. I've seen you with some pickup. You're a poacher. Very cheeky in your movement.
I wouldn't go that far.
Too modest.
Formella looking for Rito. Seems like Formella has dropped in a bit deeper to a more creative role. Now with Oakland down a man and a goal, and we'll see if the sub can impact things here. It'll be Johnny Rodriguez into the match and Danny Barbier out of the match, so that will shake things up in terms of the shape as well, bringing on a striker for a center back.
He's going to play next to Otar Carlson as a two-striking pair. Going to be very interesting. Going to occupy the back three or back five, whatever you want to look at it. Las Vegas Lights. What it's going to do. It's going to drop in Fuenmayor as a center back. He's going to push out Azócar to the left-sided, outside back as well. And then Diaz Vasura and Jose Hernandez in the middle of the field. Like you said, Joe, Formella's going to drop off a little bit. And I think it played to his favor with a lot of space in front of him to play that once again on the ball. Very direct in the way that he moves, able to break lines through his passing, through his dribbling, the way he glides through players. So look for him with the real estate in front of him underneath. Carlson and Rodriguez is going to be a big factor the last 22+ minutes here.
Quarter of an hour ago, the goal was scored by Danny Trejo to make it 1-0 Las Vegas. It's been that way ever since, as they are still up a man. And now looking to go up a second goal. It's Jennings. Cal Jennings cutting and shooting, and it's deflected wide out for a corner.
And again, it's far too easy for Las Vegas Lights. Just the ball over the top. Slow in the rotation between Rito and Clementa, but give credit, Terma Clementa comes across, doesn't leave his feet, stays stride for stride with Cal Jennings and put this ball out for a corner. Cal Jennings has been such a focal point, such an active and bright spot for Las Vegas Lights in their attacking unit. Just his movement causing all sorts of problems for the Roots.
Deroma lofts it forward. It's loose for a moment. Danny Trejo, not the only player on the field who spent 2017 to 2020 collegiately at Cal State Northridge. And he gets the goal in the 53rd minute. 15 minutes later, Oakland brings on its player who was at Cal State Northridge from 2017 to 2020, a teammate of Danny Trejo in Johnny Rodriguez, hoping that he can have the same impact and get on the score sheet himself. Rodriguez actually got his first pro goal for the Roots last year on the road against Vegas. So it could be the stars aligning here as he creates the attack. Just out of the reach, though, of Carlson on the pass slip through. Oakland Roots SC welcomes their women's team, Oakland Soul, a USLW League team, now accepting membership deposits. Place your deposit at oaklandsoulsc.com. Over the top toward Rodriguez. It stays in. Rodriguez. Did he earn the corner, or was it already out for a goal kick? After conferring, it is a goal kick. Thomas Snyder gives the thumbs up over to the assistant referee.
It's an interesting little relationship up top for the Oakland Roots, as Carlson is more as a target man, likes to play with his back towards goal. Rodriguez is not afraid to stretch this game. There's a lot of pace, much like Jennings for the Lights. He's going to stretch, running behind of the Las Vegas Lights back line.
Here's Jennings, ranging forward. Jennings leaves it for DeRoma, and it's out for a corner. Reigning title holders visit in-state rivals as the USL on ESPN2 continues. Orange County looks for a late season surge against Sac Republic Sunday, September 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Corner played in. Out for Crisostomo. Quesada for DeRoma. Numbers still forward after the corner. DeRoma. Flared toward the back post and headed home. Well worked from Vegas. It's Tony Leone on the score sheet. Vegas is up 2, and they seem to be on the way to all 3 tonight at Laney.
And it's extremely patient in the build-up for this Las Vegas Lights side on the right-hand side between DeRoma. Little dance between him and Jose Hernandez. Nice little clip ball to the back post. The lack of marking for the Oakland Roots is a bit of a head-scratcher. You see, there's 2 players around Rito. He's out-jumped by Leone. A thumping header from the center back from Las Vegas Lights to put his side up 2-0 on the road here. First goal of the year for Leone. What a time. Really well-taken header.
Goals 20 minutes apart in the 53rd and 73rd from Vegas. This Oakland team has climbed some hills this season, but down 2 goals and down a man, probably a bit too steep tonight. And don't forget down their head coach as well, as Juan Guerra was sent off, arguing the call that saw Paul Blanchette sent off.
It's such a hard task to do when you're down a man at this level. A team like the Las Vegas Lights can hurt you in so many ways, whether it's through combination play on top of the 18-yard box. You've seen them go the more direct approach here with their front 3. And again, off to the races with Cal Jennings.
Quarter of an hour remains. Vegas just has to sit back and hold on to a 2-goal lead with a 1-man advantage. Mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast that come decision day on October 15th, this might be one you go back and point to as one of the most important matches of the season if either of these two sides could walk away with the 3 points. A tie, it just prolongs things. Both teams lose a game remaining. They both pick up a point, but a win for either side changes things, as Carlson is able to keep it in, but loses it. If you're Oakland, a win puts you up 3 points on Vegas while they still have 3 games in hand. If it's the opposite, which is the direction it's clearly trending, now Vegas is going to go up 3 points on Oakland and have 3 games in hand on Oakland. And beside that, with some of the other results taking shape at the moment, Vegas would go from 8th place to 6th place. Los Dos scored 3 minutes in against Orange County, but now in the second half, they're down 2-1. Sacramento and Phoenix are still scoreless in their match. So as it stands, Vegas would go up to 6th place, and they would have 2 games in hand on Los Dos with the 1 point advantage. So Vegas is sitting in a terrific spot right now. We talked about their winless stretch, 7 matches without a win from mid-April to mid-June. This is about to be their 5th win in the last 6 games.
We've seen it here tonight, just the talent that Enrique Duran has on his roster. And Las Vegas Lights, never an easy out, especially at this year. A lot of capable goal scorers. Danny Trejo on 10 goals this year. Cal Jennings, 6. Quesada with 2. A handful with 1 goal. So understanding that when they come together, understand the tendencies to get comfortable with each other. See it come to fruition from Enrique Duran, like you mentioned earlier, Joe. What's happening now with LAFC and the players that they're signing, the players that they're bringing in, is going to have a direct correlation with what players are brought down to play here at USL Championship for Las Vegas Lights.
In toward Carlson, headed away. Rito stumbles, overmatched by Traore. This Vegas side wasn't discouraged by that winless drought from April into June, and it was actually the opposite. Enrique Duran pointed out during that rough patch, it was largely caused through to Carlson here at the end line, and it's out for a corner. Just snuck behind the back line, and a corner on the way. More on that statement from Enrique Duran in a moment as Oakland tries to pull one back.
It's a good peck out here for Formella. Lars unable to read it again. Carlson goes for the chip. Give credit to Romero again. He's answered every single question that Otar Carlson has asked of him. Comes out big, doesn't give an angle. But if you're Lar, you're gonna want to be a bit better in reading the flight of this ball.
Asokar slips all the way through on the ground. Vegas looking to counter. Out ahead of Jennings. Can he get there ahead of Rito? Yes. A whistle back behind the play stops things. Imanol Almaguer into the match for Jared Iskandarian. Almaguer into the match. Back to that statement from Enrique Duran about that drought they endured from April into June. Chalked it up mostly to injuries and players away to national team camps, whether it was senior national teams or U20 national teams. Leone among those U20s who actually earned the best 11 in the CONCACAF U20 Championship in his time with Mexico. They weren't at full strength during that stretch, especially when it came to their attacking players. But despite the results and how difficult it felt to go through that stretch for Vegas, that's when they started to realize they were building something special defensively that they've now parlayed into success once the attacking players return. They went through the dark, now they're in the light, and Vegas is on the way to another 3 points. Some yellow cards to clean up for you. Alejandro Fuenmayor had one in the last counterattack from Vegas, and now Alejandro Lara picks one up. A number of changes coming now for Oakland. Fisore off. Formella off. And Rito off for Diaz, Dennis, and Murad. Over the top from the free kick, punched away by Romero. And a handball against Clementa. Well, if you're Oakland now, the difference between 2-0 and 4-0 is nothing to you. Get those extra attacking options out there and hope for the best.
You have to take dead balls and set piece opportunities extremely serious now if you're the Oakland Roots. Just pump balls into dangerous areas, see what happens with the numbers, the physical presence that you have, which are Murad, Clemenza, Fuenmayor. We've seen Rodriguez so explosive. Obviously Carlson as well. Any time you can win a free kick in your attacking third.
And here's another free kick. And a reminder for Roots fans to get your 5-game mini plan starting at just $90. Your Fam 4-pack available starting at just $80 for 4 ticks and 4 drinks. Call 510-488-1144 or visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets for more information. A flock of Canadian geese fly overhead as the free kick is set to be taken. We've got some great field microphones. It picked up the geese as they flew by. All of a sudden, I'm hearing quacking in my ear. Dennis. Clementa, a secondary ball in. In that 3-1 loss for Oakland against Los Dos, when they also went down a man right before halftime, they were also down 2-0. They scored to make it 2-1 and put the pressure on the Galaxy, but Los Dos came right off the kickoff to score again to make it 3-1. So Oakland perhaps going for that same push here late, hoping for at least one to make things a bit tighter on Vegas. But this Vegas side has been in cruise control ever since they picked up that second goal. Oakland hasn't seen much of the ball or many opportunities.
It's really interesting. As Blanchett sees red right before halftime. There's always going to be a question mark to see how Las Vegas Lights came out of the break, the mentality, the way that they were going to play. Enrique Duran pushed all the right buttons from minute 1 in the second half. Were on the front foot, really felt the confidence instilled in the team, the way that they were going to play and approach the second half. Very patient, not overly eager. They're not forcing their style of play. They took what the Oakland Roots gave them, put the foot on the gas in the way that they moved the tempo. When they had the opportunity to make it count, they were extremely clinical in that final third. Well, you see them 2-0 up, and won't be surprised if you see him again asking questions of Bailey and putting him in really difficult situations.
Next up for this Vegas team as they hope to continue the positive stretch. This will be their 5th win in 6 matches. It's a difficult one. If they pick up the next one, there's a statement to be made about Vegas. Their next match on Wednesday night is at home against the #1 team in the Western Conference, San Antonio. After that is where things get a little interesting because they're on the road for 4 in a row against Atlanta, Phoenix, San Antonio, and Orange County. So it's an upcoming stretch for Vegas that is going to determine where they stand heading into that home stretch, and it's an upcoming difficult stretch going into that home stretch. The positive thing for Vegas, anytime you see 4 matches in a row on the road, you're going to make that up at some point with a bunch of matches at home, and they end the season on that run with 3 of the last 4 games at home. So Vegas is all of a sudden in a very good spot to make a run into the postseason. They've created this opportunity for themselves. They're led by a good mixture of young players and veterans like Declan Kynan coming into the match now for Cal Jennings. And the biggest difference is for this team this year versus this team last year, it's really just chemistry and maturity. You look side by side at a roster of Las Vegas Lights from 2021 to 2022. There's not a lot different. It's a lot of the same faces, but they're all a year older, and they've had an extra year together. Enrique Duran really chalks it up to just those 2 things, chemistry and maturity. A guy like Trejo, a guy like Quesada, and the list goes on. These players who were maybe in their late teens or early 20s, an extra year of seasoning, and now all of a sudden, it's a team that is not to be taken lightly as we are ready to turn the calendar into August, and they are likely to do so clear of that playoff line.
The tactical substitution for Enrique Duran as Kynan comes in. It's going to slot right between the back 4 to make it a back 5. It's going to be Lara, Yorshaw, Leone, Kynan, Traore.
In toward Dennis. Oakland is going to have to do some soul searching ahead of that Phoenix game on Wednesday. After this result, barring a catastrophic collapse from Vegas here, it's an Oakland team that is going to be only 2 points back of the playoff line, yes, with Los Dos in that 7th spot. But Los Dos has a game in hand, and between Los Dos and Oakland, the buffer, if you will, is Sac Republic, who are 2 points up on Oakland with 4 games in hand on Oakland. So you're not necessarily chasing 7th place Galaxy. You're looking at your rival Sacramento, who you're 2 points back of, and they have 4 games in hand. They must win Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's getting to that territory now. Dennis over to the back post and put wrong side of the post, out for a goal kick. Now I guess it's up to Marcos Reyna to answer the question this week instead of Juan Guerra as to whether or not Wednesday night is a must win. If the answer is not yes, when will it be?
Yeah.
It's got to be now. And shame on me for not picking up on this sooner. It just crossed my mind now as I'm laying out the scenario. The much anticipated Juan Guerra against Phoenix in his first match against his former team. He's going to watch from somewhere other than the technical area.
Talking about Juan Guerra, we have the luxury to talk to him throughout this season.
Back post for Diaz, and it was over the line for a goal kick.
We've had the luxury to talk to him this season, especially when in the Oakland Roots. We're in that stretch of just tying games and not really getting over that hump and not getting those full 3 points. When you ask him what was the reason for that, why, what do you need as a finishing touch or what's been lacking, he said, we've just been hurting ourselves, lack of focus, lack of decision-making in critical moments. And again, not saying it is Paul Blanchet's fault, but it comes off a line. A goalkeeper needs to be extremely sure, or you just let Cal Jennings come to you and see what happens there. But it's little decisions like that that make the difference in a game, and the margins are just so thin. But making the playoffs and missing the playoffs, picking up a point here, picking up 3 points here. Again, it just goes back to that circle that Juan Guerra alluded to early in our conversations throughout this year.
And maybe a little bit harsh to pin that on just Blanchet. Not saying you did, you did not, but I'm saying if you're a fan elsewhere and you look at this game, it's not Blanchet's fault.
No.
Like you said, Ricky, he also, Jennings, split 2 center backs who were blown by on that. So it's a collective blame to be shared for that. It falls to Blanchet because he was the last man.
And it's also, you can you're being extremely picky. You can look at the final third. They've done extremely well to get to the final third, but unable to pull the trigger, find that finishing touch, whether it's that killer ball, the finishing action. They have the talent. We've seen it throughout the year. Just need to put a lot together from minute 1 to minute 90, whatever plus.
It's +3 tonight. 3 minutes of added time as Nathan Ordaz and Chris Jaime enter the match. Danny Trejo will get a 2-minute break at the end of this one, as will Frank DeRoma. And Trejo put in quite the shift once again. Team's leading scorer with 9 goals coming into the day will leave the day with 10, including what will currently hold up as the game-winning goal in the 53rd minute, and it was a beauty. He was one-on-one with Bailey, but to just poke it with his right foot, as it looked like he was about to plant with his right foot, get it past the keeper into the far corner. Terrific finish by Danny Trejo. Monterey Bay put in another against New York Red Bulls 2 to solidify their 3 points. San Diego up a goal in stoppage time on RGV. And Orange County now up 3-1 on Los Dos, while it's still scoreless between Phoenix and Sacramento at the hour mark. Chris Jaime is not going to have much time to get used to the turf, but he stumbles on it there. Put that one in the memory bank for the next time he comes to Laney. Only thing left now is the final whistle. Las Vegas Lights, a tip of the cap for the turnaround from last year to this year. It's a team that at one point last year lost 10 straight games, bottom of the league in most statistical categories. And at the end of tonight, they are in a really strong spot, it seems, to make the postseason. Might be the last kick of the ball here from Taylor Bailey. Maybe a chance for the exclamation point here from Mo Traore. Traore still looks for the chip. Bailey makes the stop. Dennis clears.
Nice run here from Traore. A lot of real estate to get the better side of Memo Diaz, but give credit to the substitute. Bailey coming off his line. The only opportunity that Traore has is to chip him, go around him. He likes to go for the chip. No angle given.
Final whistle at Laney. The Lights come in, capitalize on a red card, and walk away with all 3 points on goals by Danny Trejo and Tony Leone. It's a team currently in 6th place, above the playoff line. Look out for the Lights, Western Conference.
This game really changed when that red card went up, like any game would. Just a movement in the final third, the front 3 for Las Vegas Lights, causing all sorts of problems for the Oakland Roots with the running in behind between Iskandarian, Trejo, Jennings. Too much to handle in the end. A very frustrating night for Ron Guerra and the Oakland Roots, picking up 2 red cards, 1 the head coach, and obviously the goalkeeper. Will go into it after the break, but well-deserved Las Vegas Lights.
We wrap it up in just a moment from Oakland. All 3 points tonight to the visitors.
We are driven by a purpose to build healthy communities where everyone deserves a shot at fulfilling their dreams. A place where inclusion, acceptance, and equal opportunity are the norm. A town where all people have access to nutritious food, healthy lifestyles, and quality healthcare. Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots are breaking down barriers to ensure people stay nourished of the mind, body, and soul, all while having every opportunity to succeed. We welcome Oakland Soul to the town. Together, we will make the East Bay better for everyone.
If Mark, Mr. Cartoon Machado, didn't have the fighting spirit to draw out his passion, he never would have turned chrome into a canvas. If he let a lack of tools stop him, he never would have started tattooing using a homemade machine. And if he listened to those who said you need an art degree, he never would have perfected the street look that made him a street legend. That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, root for those with a fighting spirit.
It says Julie is waiting with my order.
I'm just gonna go in. We've got to work on the tracking. Oh, good luck.
Take the entire journey with your customer with user testing.
So, was the baguette fresh?
It was spicy.
And the ghost pepper rev?
Empty.
Keep ingredients separate? Here.
Get a taste of your customer's world with user testing.
Danny Trejo all smiles, his 10th of the season. Turns out to be the winning goal in a 2-0 victory for Las Vegas Lights over the Oakland Roots on the road. A young team for Las Vegas, continuing to show the maturity. They hold on to win 1-0 last week on the road against RGV, and tonight they come away with 3 more on the road against the Oakland Roots. With that, we take a look at tonight's save of the game, brought to you by Credit Karma. It belongs to Taylor Bailey, comes in cold after the red card and makes a stop on the free kick.
And it's always a big challenge when you come in, especially as a goalkeeper, not having the proper warm-up, and you get tested right away. A lot of traffic in there, really confident save. Was really good when he came in. I thought he was a bright spot for the Oakland Roots.
Take a look at the full-time highlights here at the end of the first half. A big opportunity for Las Vegas that turned out to be a precursor of things to come. One direct ball over the top creates havoc. This one didn't prove fruitful. The next one would in a way.
You know, it was just running and the movement in that final third for Las Vegas Lights getting the better of the Oakland Roots. You can see there, ball over the top from Danny Trejo, flat-footed in the back for the Oakland Roots. Paul Blanchette is forced to come off his line, thinks he can get there, but Jennings knows what he's doing, just pushes it by him, feels any type of contact, he's always gonna go down. Last man, red card, and the game really changed when this play happened. After coming out of the break, Las Vegas Lights, talk about a dime of a pass here from Cal Jennings, and then so cheeky from Danny Trejo. No keeper in the world is stopping that. As they're setting up, he has the audacity to have a, first of all, clean first touch over Clemenza. And it's so cheeky, so quick. No ability to set his feet. And it's 1-0 Las Vegas Lights. And then again, a little dancing in the far corner for Frank DeRoma. He plays it back. A little chip ball. Lack of marking. Clemenza, Juan Mayor, players on their heels, watching the ball. You have Leone, he just rises up above Rito, unmarked, dumps it down, and gets it second for Las Vegas Lights.
A look at the full-time stats. No surprise that in the second half, Vegas dominated with the man advantage.
You know, there's always going to be an uphill battle for the Oakland Roots going down a man, but down a man to a Las Vegas Lights team that likes to stretch the game. And that's going to open up gaps for players like Danny Trejo, like Cal Jennings, like Iskandarian that can hurt you, DeRoma as well. And that was the story of the game. Just the movement, the pace on that front line, and too much for the Oakland Roots to deal with.
Well, when the season ends on October 15th, remember back to July 23rd, a huge matchup between Las Vegas and Oakland, and it goes the way of Las Vegas. It's a quick turnaround now for both of these teams. Oakland will face Phoenix on Wednesday night at home, and Vegas will host San Antonio on Wednesday night at home. That does it for us here from Laney, alongside my broadcast partner, Ricky Lopez-Espin, and for the crew that makes this all possible, I am Joe Malva saying good night from Oakland. Flip over to catch the last 20 minutes of Phoenix and Sacramento right here on ESPN+. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.